Thank you, Jocelyn, and thank you, President Charmaine, for inviting me to be a speaker. I know that, Jocelyn, you had me in your calendar for 2 years, but I'm going to have to apologise to everyone that I will have to leave by about 5 to 2 because then I've got an international phone call with my head of development. So, in fact, I changed flights to get here for you. It's been an interesting time. So I will start and give you all a little bit of an introduction. So I'll first start with a formal welcome. Tēnā koutou katoa. Greetings, greetings to you all. And thank you for inviting me to be part of this. So I am going to tell you my story from where I started, from tracing and the first steps of design, through to diversity of skills, which I'm pleased Jocelyn's given you a broad range of my skills, mentors and their influence, project administration and coordination, architecture, leadership in BPW New Zealand, the SDGs, which for those is the Sustainable Development Goals, and why they're important to me. So tracing, to begin, tracing is a lost art. When I first learned how to draw, I was given a drawing board, some pens, and I used to trace drawings of engineers. So it'd be fire, it would be hydraulics, electrical drawings, and it was for a building called the Oncology Site in Auckland Hospital. Then, being part of wanting to know how to do things more, I went on to doing some work from medical engineering, where I used to be a PA, and I used to, now I'm looking at my text, but send off messages around the world through a telex machine. So I'm certainly showing a few years here. And when I typed a report for an engineer and made a spelling mistake, which I was horrified, they sent the youngest engineer back to tell me I had typed the word count without a very important O in it. So I was horrified. And you can imagine this young guy was he blushed. I think I went red from the roots of my hair to my toes. But what it taught me was being very careful. And then I had the opportunity to go on to design kitchens. So I'm just showing you a change in the direction. That skill made me want to do more around building and development. So this on the left-hand side is what our original house looked like when we bought the house, and this is its kitchen. And now you can see on the right-hand side the new kitchen. And it's great to cook in. So our son's going to be enjoying this over the next few months because we're relocating to Papamoa. So one of the other things I did, I went into another company and they went, oh, you can draw. We would like to employ you to work on food towns and Kmarts. So for example, a Kmart is like Target in the States, and the drawings we received were A1. No, they were called a B1, and we had to reduce them to A1 scale. So going from Australian standards to New Zealand standards. Again, changes in life. I went on to working with an engineering company. Now, it was really interesting. I got this telegram, and I wish I'd kept it. I don't think I did. I've never seen it again. And it said, please phone us immediately. We'd like to interview you. You've applied for this job. And I went, okay. So I went in. The guy that was interviewing me was what we called a purser from the Navy. That's what he used to do. So he was very particular about how do you type? How many words a minute can you type? How can you do this? And then this gentleman came in and he said, I believe you can draw. And I went, yes. He said, right, here's 3 pens, some graph paper and a ruler. Draw something. And I'm thinking, what on earth am I going to draw? So I drew up a kitchen, and he came back 5 minutes later and he said, you know how to draw, you know how to use pens. Your style of writing is more architectural, but we'll get that out of your system and make sure you're an engineer by the time we're finished with you. And the result from that was he gave me a DOS machine on my first day with 4 instructions how to get into the computer and get out. That was my introduction to DOS. By the time I finished with them, I had learned how to use the machine, went on to do training for, I think it was called Word Perfect. And I taught the instructor how to do automatic numbering because she didn't know how to teach us how to do it in the training session. So over lunch, read the manual, went, how do we do this? And the result was I trained the draftee through to the CEO how to use the new program. Then I wrote the training manuals throughout New Zealand. And the result was then the accountant came to me and said, Carolyn, we would like you to write their accounting program. So I should go through. So this was some of the work we did. The stormwater catchment, I ended up doing a lot of drafting and had other women in the team do the typing. So from new technology comes changes. So as I said, from the DOS machine to the in-house training manual for the drafting team to the GM, and then from Auckland to New Zealand wide. And the company finance officer came and said, Carolyn, every month you do the invoices for the company. I said, yes. He said, right, we want you to now write the training manual for New Zealand. Andrew Brickle was my mentor. He was the person I worked for, and he opened up my abilities to do different things. So for me, mentors and inspiration. I always say to anyone, we need to have good mentors and people that will inspire us to step up. So, and these are ones that I really like, and I've given them to young students as well. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I may remember, but involve me and I will learn, by Benjamin Franklin. And then nothing is impossible. The word itself says I'm possible, and I do use that a lot with Audrey Hepburn. And then the ability is what you're capable of doing. Motivation determines what you do. Attitude determines how well you do it. So I thought that was really good. So my husband and I, we shifted to Christchurch. He was relocated back in the late 1980s and early 1990s. And I was working at a bakery firm, and I helped change the marketing for the company all around New Zealand from the market shares of 25 to 35% to 85 to 95%. But, and this is another story in itself, the men were horrendous in some ways. They had a stripper come in for the new GM for the bakery. I used to take them on a Friday to the strip club so they could have lunch and get drunk, and then I had to pick them up. It was not a pleasant environment. So I stayed professional, and I really wish I'd known about BPW in Christchurch because I was 24 then, and I really could have done with the guidance and the leadership and the knowledge these women would have been able to impart. But I didn't know about it at all. So anyway, I walked in, said to them, the GM and the marketing manager, I've got some news for you today. I've got some great news today. And they went, you're pregnant. I went, no, I'm actually resigning. Here's my resignation. And I left, and 3 weeks later, they said, oh, Carolyn, could you teach the young girl how to use the laminating machine? I said, no, that's not my space. You're gone. But I had the opportunity to be the project coordinator for a $50 million redevelopment for a stage one for a big retail development. In today's day and age, if you look at the value, we're talking about $250 million. So that gives you an idea of the scale. And there were two of us that ran that in New Zealand. The company was property portfolio managers. We had to send reports through. We ran meetings from 7:30 with all the consultants right till 5 o'clock every Thursday. And my role was to make sure that all the budgets were managed, or the variations, or the pricing requests. So it was a great learning space and coordination of the team. The building challenges, having fights with the contractor who was on the phone one day and I had out the phone very far from my ear because it was really blue. And I said to him in the end, David, I'm right, you're wrong, and you're going to come back with a solution. Goodbye. And I hung up the phone on him. Half an hour later, he came around and he said, Carolyn, I'm really sorry. You are right. Now, this is what we propose as a solution. So, and then some of the other surprises was I was helping the management team deal with emergencies, which wasn't part of my role, but sometimes you just picked up sticks and helped everyone to get through. And one day we had 31 degrees in Christchurch, and then we had a hailstorm at 2 o'clock, and all the internal gutters flooded. So we're trying to find buckets or whatever for all the tenants to make sure that they could actually have their products in there. And the key thing about it was I used to actually sign off all the tenancy fit out designs. So it was a great learning experience. Then 18 months later, my husband got headhunted to be on the Sky City. So it was an opportunity. We went, what are we going to do? So my husband said, look, Carolyn, you always wanted to move up from doing your drafting certificate. So I've been studying part-time while I was working full-time. So he said, now why don't you go to Auckland University? It's one of the top universities in the country, and you can get some unique challenges through it, and you can actually have the skill to develop. So I went, right, okay. So I studied and did 2 degrees, Bachelor of Architectural Studies and B.Arch with honours. I was a student rep, because as anyone that knows me, I'll get involved. I became the New Zealand Institute of Architects Environmental Chair for over a period of 10 years. I tried to step off a couple of times and got pulled back in. So I was a committee member on the first Auckland Architectural Week, which was Britomart and collaboration of the Unitec, which is now called the Technical University, Auckland University and New Zealand Institute of Architects. And part of my experience as being an architect was I've managed to work on some amazing projects. I've worked on schools, swimming pools. I've worked in commercial and industrial, and also on helping the design development for social housing. So, a surprise and new direction. My husband said, right, with 21 years apart, a second son was born. And there was an opportunity to continue to study. And my husband said, you'll not be that busy on maternity leave. You're always going to do your master's. Now you can. So the results, I worked on contract for one architect, wrote a 30,000 word master's on sustainable design between 2 libraries, did a full design of a new library arts and culture facility, entered into the International Union of Architects competition, and had my young son at 18 months end up in hospital 10 days before my master's was to be handed in. So not busy. But what came out of this was, because of that time, there was a little ad in the paper for applying for a scholarship, and it was being by BPW Franklin. And I thought, oh, yep. And my husband said, why didn't you apply for it? And I went, really? I got it in 5 minutes before it closed. And I won the scholarship, and that provided the opportunity for me to do my master's in architecture and the stepping stone towards my registration as a New Zealand architect. And I'll tell you now, when I was registered, it was 17% of women are registered architects. We had managed to climb to 21%. So my architectural journey, and I'm keeping an eye on the time, this was what I did when I had my own company, and I actually won an award for this house because 51% of the timber shavings inside these blocks were actually from local timber mills. It had a 4-hour fire rating, it had a high acoustics performance and a high environmental performance. So my client was 79. She actually closed the house up one day, went away on one of the hottest days in Auckland, came back and the house was really cool. Reverse, in the winter, the house is really warm. So the thing about this house, the family loved it so much that they said, the oldest daughter and son-in-law said, we want to buy this, mum, from you, mum. We will extend the flat, because the flat, you don't even know it's there. And she loved to cook, so she'd do all the cooking anyway. And they said, this will give you some money. You can go and do what you like. And they've kept it in the family because they didn't want to lose it. And then I've done conversions of the county's power warehouse to energy efficient offices. and a new wharekai and ringaroa. So this sculpture at the end, it is actually the woman is the toa kohai, and then the smaller is the men. And those layers, it's actually weaving that have been done into the panels, because this is important to this iwi, and that was brought into that building's facade. So it's about the generations. So then, because the BPW New Zealand journey began with a scholarship, I wanted to give something back. Being the winner for BPW in Franklin in 2004, I became a member. I became in 2002, end of 2002. So then in 2004, I became a member. And it was because of the support of members. Some of the mother and daughter tag team would pick me up and say, Carolyn, we're going to have the meeting this week. On Wednesday, we'll pick you up and take you. So I couldn't even say no because one of them or the other one was going to make sure I was going along. And it was great because I felt really welcomed by them. But I'm not saying it was always perfect. There were some interesting challenges, and personalities always challenges. But it made me feel like there was some importance, and it gave me an opportunity to understand what business and professional woman was about. So then I was shoulder tapped to go on the committee in 2005. I assisted in fundraising events. We actually had one that we raised about $7,000. I initiated the strong partnership with the White Ribbon campaign. And then we had a long ribbon that was actually with the White Ribbon campaign. It had been signed by people all around the community. And so then the organisers of the White Ribbon Pledge decided that they would take this idea up, and they got ribbons all around New Zealand. They came together and they were hung up at the hospital, at the Child's Hospital. So in 2008, I attended my first BPW conference because I was not going to do anything until my son turned 5. And I was elected the marketing convener and attended my first congress in Mexico. I tell you what, I've never worked so hard in my life at a conference. Well, not there. And I thought as an architect, I had the idea of what a conference would be, because with architects, we go and listen to speakers and then we come away again and we relax and have a few drinks and whatever. But a conference with BPW is nothing like that. But the result was I held various positions until, and I was the first ever president in New Zealand to actually, first person to be elected while there was a president that could have continued for another year. And so I was also the first president of New Zealand, and I was president of a club for a year. So that was interesting and challenging. So I've held various positions at BPW Franklin and BPW New Zealand. So as president of BPW New Zealand, one of the things I did, I went to Congress Helsinki and came back to be, because I was inspired to introduce new projects, including the Women Empowerment Principles. In 2012, I instigated the changes to the membership structure, having put together a task force that worked on that, was approved at conference. And we actually now have individual members that can be part of BPW New Zealand if there's no club in their region. We updated our own constitution to allow for individual members to have voting rights and option to be elected as executive officers. So if you think individual members now have an e-club and they put resolutions forward. And then in 2014, I was invited to be a member of the pay equity panel being led by the YWCA Auckland CEO. So there's power of our collective voice, written and oral submissions, and we do still continue to do a huge amount of work in this space. And Siobhan Dilly, who's our Issues VP now, is really continuing that great work. Part of this experience was press releases, training on how to have interviews with the press, the radio, and being on TV, which I did 2 live TV interviews. And again, it was about that mentoring and leadership. So one of the things, attended BPW International Congress and WEPS, began in 2011. The Women Empowerment Principles is Equality Means Business, the UN Global Women and Global Compact. Now, one of the things that's really amazing is BPW Canada is actually a WEPS signatory. So in 2012, in the launch, so I came back 2011. In May, I met the president of UN Women Aotearoa New Zealand. We had a meeting in August in Wellington. At the end of August, we had already started to get signatories on board. We had the Human Rights Commission as part of the committee, and what we call the Equal Opportunities Trust were also part of the initial group. And we had 13 corporations and business who were recognized at the launch in 2012. I think now we're sitting about 80, and now we're close to 56 because I've changed some of that structure. So then, and it's 150, so I better keep moving. So in 2020, or it was actually 2019, December 2019, my husband said, Carolyn, there's this master's just been established. It's been endorsed by our former Prime Minister, Helen Clark. Why you're really interested in the SDGs? You were sitting there in New York in the General Assembly where they are ratified and accepted. Why don't you do your master's in the SDGs? And are they relevant to architecture? Yes, they are. So I was there. I did sign up to do my master's, and I was meant to actually have my paper published last year, but I got caught up with constitution regulations. But why are the United Nations General Assembly, that resolution that was passed on the 25th of September 2015, the Sustainable Development Goals, we are starting to see projects being implemented around the world by members of BPW, and there's actually a whole register of those projects. And the more we get out there, the more we can show what BPW International and its members worldwide are doing. The 17 SDGs for the 2030 Agenda consist of 5 key pillars: people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnerships. And in September 2023, they did a political declaration at the summit, and that was around reinforcing the commitment to effectively implement the 2030 Agenda and its SDGs and uphold all principles enshrined in it. So just quickly, I talk about different regions, which I've spoken about Canada in the past, but why the SDGs, and is the Asia Pacific region on target? Well, the last report that was done, climate action, is really in regression, but we've actually started to see some changes around responsible consumption and production and life below water. So you can see what was progress in 2015, but there's a couple now have been added. But are we going to achieve the SDGs? Look at this, 2030, we've got another 32 years to fill the progression gap. And then why is this important? Because of the impact that the rising climate risk and associated impacts has on women and their families, on food production, and health and well-being. If we don't address this, we are not going to shift the change in addressing climate change and its risk to all. And one of the nice things, though, there are 10 most sustainable smart cities. In 2023, there were Oslo, Norway, the ones in black had all shifted up into the register. So Amsterdam, Copenhagen, Singapore, and Stockholm. Vancouver got on the list. Helsinki got on the list. So it's really good to see that you are actually that some of these cities are being recognized for their sustainable smart city approaches. So bridging the gaps, to date, there are gaps in reporting and no framework to bridge the space where business, social enterprises, and entrepreneurs are making a difference in addressing the SDGs. And until we have that reporting, we will never show how the work that is being done is actually influencing change. So quickly, now with BPW and leadership, constitution and regulations, which we do need to get finalised. So the journey so far, so this was a stepping stone in my next level of leadership within BPW. And in 2024, I was actually asked, Carolyn, why don't you consider stepping up as our next executive secretary? And I went, okay, maybe it's now time for me to be in that space. Didn't know I was going to take on such a really demanding role, but you just balance life. That's all about balance, the swings and roundabouts. So one of the things I went, okay, I'll put my name forward. If the members wish for me to be their next executive secretary, then I'll do so. And they did. So 2024 to 2027. So you're going to hear a lot more from me around other things that we need to address. So I want to say again, for me, what's really important, global sustainability is now the only avenue to future inclusive progress that can deliver the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Climate Agreement. And why this is important, because the journey from when I started as a tracer right through with my journey with BPW, because BPW opened the door for me to get to the UN through the work I'd done to now get to this space. So I'd like to say thank you. And this was my own company. And you have 3 minutes for any questions. But I'd like to stop sharing and thank you all.
As usual, very phenomenal. I congratulate you on all aspects of this. My goodness.
Wow, Carolyn, that was amazing. It's inspiring. I think we all need to hear stories like that more often about women that have just gotten out of the old way of doing things and started new ways of doing things. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us and your story with us. Amazing.
Thank you all. And I'm so sorry I can't stay any later.
Sorry.
It's just the new job.
Yes.
And I've got meetings for there, but it has been wonderful. And hopefully I get to see some of you in New York. I'm hoping that I can actually get to one at the regional conference or a conference. So watch this space.
Okay.
But
wow.
Thank you all. And
Carolyn, where are you right now?
Christchurch, New Zealand.
Oh, you're there. Okay.
Yeah. So I drive up to Picton tomorrow night, catch a ferry across. I'm going to actually live in a house I designed by for Anita Devsich in Lake Rotowiti for a few weeks until we get established, and I'll be working out of the Papamoa office. So I'm there for 2 days, then I get on a plane and fly to New York on the 5th.
Wow.
Wonderful. I'm overwhelmed. I thought I was busy. I got nothing to do compared to what you're doing.
So as I say, I'm really sorry that I have to leave, but when the head of development puts a meeting, I already pushed him off, but I can't do that now. So
Carolyn,
don't record that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. We'll see you again sometime.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Carolyn.
Wow.
I'm just,
That was
my head is spinning.
amazing.
That lady has lived at least 10 lives all in one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Amazing.
Nancy, you're close. So.
I love her energy.
Yeah,
Oh.
me too.
I love the whole thing.
We will have access to this on YouTube, so I'm very thankful for this.
Oh, me too, because I'm going to hardly wait to listen to it again.
Yes.
It was inspiring.
Yes.
I loved her
Absolutely.
energy.
Like I just wanted to get up and do something.
Yeah. Well, I didn't, but it was awesome. It was really good.
For sure.
President Charmaine,
Yes.
it's Jenny.
Hi, Jenny.
I just wanted to say that this was, an amazing speaker. I have to say, Caroline is, my successor at BPW International. And absolutely, as CAC chair, she was constitutional advisory chair at the international level and played a huge role to support the president as well. So, and to have her speak tonight, and to be able to see firsthand, how BPW has influenced her life, but
Yes.
also how she is now shaping BPW International, sitting at the executive level. And, the Canadian theme for International Women's Day is strength in every story. And I think it's quite appropriate for you to host this, not just as an annual candlelighting dinner or annual candlelighting ceremony, but also, just going into International Women's Day with this type of, demonstration or showcasing of strength in
Yes.
Carolyn's story. And we need to hear that from many more of our members.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Jenny, so much. Thank you for being here as well, because you're another strong woman. And I remember when you spoke to us last year. Amazing, amazing.
Thank you for the invitation. And Niagara Falls is surely leading in some of these virtual events that people across the world want to participate in. And you saw Carolyn, in the middle of the afternoon at 1:00 was willing to join us and share her story with us.
Yes, yes. Awesome, awesome. Whew. Well, what's up next on our agenda is our annual candle lighting ceremony. Now, I don't know who of our members has a copy of the protocol.
I can find it.
Okay, I'm going to go through it, and I'm going to light these candles. Going to drink first.
You would like me to put it up on the screen when I find it?
Yes, and then there's a couple spots where I'd like to involve people from our club to do some readings. So
I can highlight you because you're the one who will be lighting the candles. So I'm not sure how this is going to work. I'll do my best here.
well, you can kind of, you're the one who taught us how to put something on one side and make it smaller, and so
Yes,
that the people
right.
could be bigger.
Yeah.
Or however.
Yeah.
Fine.
It was available on the BPW International website.
You sent it to me in
I did.
yes. That's how I got it. You sent it to me in Messenger. So
In Messenger.
yeah.
Okay, then I will go there and find it.
Okay.
It's probably my lunch.
Okay. To participate in influential organizations. We just heard that from Carolyn. The International Federation of Business and Professional Women, which unites women around the world. Although its members speak in many languages and live in countries with differing traditions, they share the same determination of purpose. More than 90 years ago, BPW was founded by Dr. Lena Madison Phillips from the United States of America. And a few years later, she conceived the idea of the candle. We will evoke historical memories, the many accomplishments, and celebrate today's achievements. The members of the United States of America made goodwill tours to Europe to share their interests and beliefs with women of Europe. Through their efforts and influence, groups were organized in several countries. In 1930, women from 16 countries met in Geneva, where a long-cherished dream, the forming of the International Federation, became a reality. The candles symbolize the ambitions and endeavors of dedicated women in every country around the world. Each white candle represents a federation. Each blue candle stands for a country where there is at least one associated club, and the pink candles for individual members. The candle in the middle, this one here, represents the oldest group of BPW affiliates of the United States of America. I'm going to light that candle now. Watching for this, hopefully. To our guests, I have a little bit of a challenge with keeping my hand steady. That's not good, is it? Got it. No, I didn't. But next year, somebody else is going to do this. Come on. Come on. Nope. I practiced today too. Come on. That's fine. Okay. I'm going to light that first candle and then I'll continue reading. Maybe. Maybe I'm going to have to call the husband up. What? So now you understand what I mean when I say it'll be a surprise. What is next? The tallest candle represents the International Federation. That's this one up here. Yay. In the warmth and glow of this tolerant light, business and professional women in all parts of the world come together to share memories in friendship and reflect on the founding principles envisioned by Lena Madison Phillips that govern the International Federation, which stands out as a beacon to women everywhere. Using our combined abilities and strength, we renew our commitment for the attainment of the following objectives. Nancy, could you read number 1 for me, please?
Work for women. Is that the one I'm on the
Yeah.
right spot? Work for
Yeah.
women. Economic independence and equal opportunity and representation in economic, civil, and political life.
Thank you, Nancy. Anne, could you read number 2?
Encourage and support women and girls to A, develop their professional and leadership potential. B, undertake lifelong education and training. And C, use their abilities for the benefit of others locally, nationally, and internationally.
Catherine, could you read number 3, please?
Sure. Number 3, advocate for the elimination of all discrimination against women, for human rights and the use of gender-sensitive perspectives.
Thank you. Jocelyn, number 4.
Undertake a worldwide networking and cooperation between business and professional women. B, nonprofit projects that help women gain economic independence. And C, to present the views of business and professional women to international organizations and agencies and to business, governments, and civil society.
Thank you. Thank you all. Let us now light the other candles and remember our members on every continent who will be celebrating in the same manner. As we light the candles for them, they will light the candles for our country. First, we light the candles for each of the founding federations of BPW. And I'm sorry, I'm a little shy on one of these, but can somebody read these ones?
Yes, I can read.
Okay.
Austria, Canada, France, Italy, United Kingdom, United States of America.
Thank you. A little short on them. Today, there are also affiliate federations, and we're going to light some more candles as each country is named. There's 37 on that list. Does anybody want to read them?
I could do that for you.
Thank you, Anne.
Argentina, Australia, Bahrain, Belgium, Brazil, Burkina Faso, Cyprus, Ecuador, Egypt, Estonia, Finland, Gabon, Germany, Ireland, Japan, Jordan, Korea, Kuwait, Lebanon, Malaysia, Mexico, Morocco, Myanmar, Nepal, New Zealand, Nigeria, Pakistan, Philippines, Poland, Singapore, Spain, Sudan, Sweden, Switzerland, Taiwan, Thailand, and the United Arab Emirates.
Wow, thank you, Anne. This is so much fun. You have no idea. I give up on that one. Next, we want to honor our affiliate clubs in the following countries. And that's our blue candle. There are 76 different countries on this list. Does someone want to read those?
Yes, I
Sure,
can.
I'll read them.
Catherine?
I'll read them. We'll give Jocelyn a break.
Yep.
Okay. Albania, American Samoa, Anguilla, Armenia, Barbados, Benin, Bermuda, Botswana, Cameroon, Cayman Islands, Chile, Colombia, the Côte d'Ivoire, Croatia, Czech Republic, Djibouti, the DR of the Congo, Dominica, Dominican Republic, Ethiopia, Georgia, Ghana, Greece, Haiti, Hong Kong, Hungary, Iceland, India, Indonesia, Jamaica, Kazakhstan, Kenya, Kosovo, Latvia, Libya, Lithuania, Madagascar, Malta, Moldova, Mongolia, Mozambique, Norway, the state of Palestine, Panama, Papua New Guinea, Paraguay, Peru, Republic of Congo, Romania, the Russian Federation, Rwanda, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, Senegal, Sierra Leone, Slovenia, South Africa, South Sudan, Syria, Tanzania, Togo, Tunisia, Turkey, Uganda, Ukraine, Yemen, Zambia, and Zimbabwe.
Thank you.
Aren't you glad you didn't have to do a separate candle for each one of those?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I
Your
can't
house
even
would
get them
be
all
on fire.
done today. We have a single pink candle and this is for individual members. We have, and that would be for Denmark in our pink candle. Oh, come on. There, that one got lit. That's good. BPW is a dynamic and powerful organization of world importance. Public opinion and legislation in many countries have been influenced by its work. It has broadened our horizons and skills. It has increased our rights and our opportunities, and it has expanded our service to one another in the community. As our voice at the United Nations organization, it presents to the world body information and opinions obtained from our affiliates worldwide. It enjoys Category 1 consultative status with United Nations Economic and Social Council. It also has consultative status with United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. The board of the United Nations Children Fund, the International Labor Office, the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, and the World Health Organization. It works closely with the Commission on Human Rights and the Commission on the Status of Women, the Food and Agriculture Organization, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, the Council of Europe, and other specialized agencies. As we come to the end of another candle lighting ceremony, let us light the last candle, the candle of the future. I knew I forgot one, but we'll make this one the candle of the future. We will light it. There, it's lit. How many times I went through this and it was just fine. The candle of the future. As we light this candle, let us reaffirm our aim to go forward with faith, with courage, and with enthusiasm to take our place in economic, social, and political fields of endeavor, helping us to bring into being a world of social justice for all and the peace to which all humanity aspires. Beth, could you read the International Collect for us, please?
Absolutely. Keep us, O Lord, from pettiness. Let us be large in thought, in word and deed. Let us be done with fault finding and leave off self-seeking. May we put away all pretenses and meet each other face to face, without self-pity and without prejudice. Let us take time for all things. Make us grow calm, serene, and gentle. Teach us to put into action our better impulses, straightforward and unafraid. Grant that we may realize that it is the little things that create differences, that in the big things of life we are one. And may we strive to touch and know the great human heart common to us all. And, O Lord God, let us not forget to be kind.
Thank you. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, everyone, for being here for this. I'm not going to apologize that I shake. It's just because I'm so excited to be talking about this.
Thank you. I will stop the recording at this point.
Thank you. I think that this is one of the things that keeps me going in BPW, is that it is a worldwide organization and that it does have a voice. It's not just a group of women in our little corner of the world. It's an international event. And we find that by seeing people from across Canada and New Zealand and the people we've met from the other countries around and about. So thank you all for coming. Any questions or comments on our candle lighting?
I'd like to say it was another beautiful ceremony. And I personally enjoy it because I think of all the people around the world that still need our help.
Yes.
So I lit my candle.